Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Guy in His Garage. My name's Cam. And for those of you that have been around for a while, that's a school bus. I swear it happens every time. As I was saying, those of you that have been around for a while know that I usually post every Friday at noon. However, the last 2 Fridays, there hasn't been a video. And for that, I apologize. For those of you that follow my personal Instagram account, you probably have been seeing a lot of stories of a deck I was building. A friend of mine selling their house. Unfortunately, during the inspection, it was identified that a portion of the deck needed some work. They got a quote. Quote was kind of ridiculous, so I went in, gave them a quote. It was under the other quote, so I got the job. Did a bunch of work. I'll throw up some pictures here. As you guys can see in this photo, a lot of the joists, deck boards, and framing is all rotten. So I went ahead, pulled all that off, pulled the fascia board off the house, put a new fascia board, properly attached it with lag bolts, and then built out a whole new frame. But before we put the frame on it, I had to jack up the rest of the deck. About there. Attach that to the new fascia board, provide it with a 4x4 to a concrete post to help support it, and then we built our frame. Then we got our deck boards on there, and then we built our railing, and I finally got it done this week. So now we're finally back on regularly scheduled random projects. So this barrel, I've actually had it for probably almost a year now. It traveled with me from Virginia to here. And I want to make it into a burn barrel. However, I don't want your stereotypical cut the top out, drill a couple holes in the bottom and throw crap in it and burn. I want to cut it in half vertically. I actually want to build like a little frame for it to sit in, make it look nice, right? To where it's more of a fire pit than a burn barrel. I want to get this filled up with some water. This was filled with transmission fluid previously. However, there's little to none in it. So we're going to put some water in it to help dilute it, and then probably fill the bottom of it with some Speedy Dry, just to help absorb that up. And then we'll go ahead and get this bad Larry cut in half. Let's get to it. Okay, so obviously when you start a project, you start realizing that you're probably missing things that you should have got before you started the project, and right now it's one of those. So I want to be able to mark our barrel up, and obviously I have our straight edge, and I could use, a Sharpie, but I like doing things right, and using the right tools just makes you feel good. So I realized I don't have any soapstone here at the house. So I'm probably actually going to get the soapstone and pick up some angle iron, probably from Tractor Supply, because it's cheap. Not really, not at all. Tractor Supply metal is expensive for no reason, and it's not even like top quality. But we do what we do. And get some soapstone so that we can get this bad boy built. Okay guys, so now we got our 2 halves. I think we're gonna use this one for our regular fire pit around the house, and I'll save the other one for another time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my grinder here with a flat attack on it. Just go over all the edges, knock everything down real quick so we don't have any sharp edges and cut ourselves. Then we'll kind of start figuring out what we want to do for our framework. Okay guys, so like I was saying, we got our drum pretty much cut in half. We got our edges all grinded down. There's a bolt for the 8N stuck to the magnet on the tripod. We'll make sure that goes back up there. Measured out our distance from this end to this end. It's 35.5 inches. So I have a piece. So I got a piece of 1/8 steel. So that's the actual thickness of the metal. And then it's 3/4 by 3/4 because it's a piece of angle iron. And then this piece is 72 inches long, so 6 foot. Bless me. All right, so I got our straight edge down here on the ground. Got it measured up 35.5 inches. We'll take our soapstone, mark our piece, and then we'll change the flap disc off of our grinder and put a cutting wheel on it and get this cut. And then what we'll do is we'll cut another piece at 35.5 for the other side, and then we'll measure from this edge to that edge, get that measured out. And then what we'll do is we'll cut our pieces to make 90s. Actually, I'm probably not going to do 90s. We'll do something else. But we'll cut our pieces that way there. We can get it all laid out on the ground, and then we can pull the welder out and get the top welded, get it attached to our drum, and then we'll weld some feet up. Let's get it done, baby. Alright guys, it's a few days later, obviously, but we're back in the garage, and we're going to go ahead and start welding up our frame. And keep in mind guys, I'm no professional welder. Alright, I can take 2 pieces of metal, throw some bead in there, and make them stick together and work. Alright, just remember the good old phrase, grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't. But right now I got the welder set to 55 for our speed, and then I got it set to 6 for our voltage, which if I'm not mistaken I believe is actually 60 volts. Based on the wire size I'm running and the thickness of our steel here, that's about where we should be. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna just tack this up so we can get these magnets that are holding our frame together off, and then we'll go ahead, put our other side on, and then we'll get our beads put in here, get it all cleaned up, then probably get it attached to our actual drum, and then we'll come up with something for the legs and some supports, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we got the top of our frame welded, all of it grinded out, and honestly it's looking pretty solid. You know, there's definitely, you know, some improvement to be made, but again, like I said earlier in the video, I'm not a welder. So now we got it grinded down. We got it actually sitting on top of our drum where we want it. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead around the top, weld it to it, and then what we'll do is we'll figure out, we'll play how high we want it kind of games, and then we'll cut some more pieces, get them welded on. Probably going to do a couple cross braces in it just to help give it some more rigidity. And then I got some flat stock steel that we'll probably cut some like 2" by 2" squares out of, and then weld those to the bottom so that the angle iron steel doesn't just sink right into the ground when you get weight on it. You know, having those little pieces of flat plate on the bottom will help give it some rigidity. All right guys, so I've decided, just kind of looking at it and taking our straight edge and putting it up there based off of where it's at right now. I honestly think I'm going to cut 4 pieces of our angle iron to 18 inches, and then we'll actually flip that over to where it's on the top frame that we just made is actually on the ground. And then we will tack weld it all up and then flip it over onto the legs and see what we're thinking. Alright guys, so you probably noticed I've been kind of just going at this thing in time lapse, because part of the thing is it's Thursday at almost 8 o'clock at night and I'm still filming for a video that's supposed to come out tomorrow at noon. So honestly just kind of banging some stuff out, but right now what I'm doing is I'm adding in some cross braces this way, right? So I cut some pieces. The goal is to get them down in here. Now this one's a little tighter than I'd like it to be. And part of that's because, unfortunately, you know, without proper temperature control and being super picky on absolutely everything, you're gonna end up with warpage. So that's what we're kind of dealing with right now. And we're just gonna live with it. Because again, it's a fire pit, guys. Right? We're not looking for absolute perfection here. But we are looking for something that looks halfway decent, so we'll throw a level on here. Damn, I'm good. No, actually, hold on. We're good that way. What about this way? Sneak that up in there. Like that. Alright, that's that one. We'll come over here, do the same thing on this side. And that's level. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead, burn that in, And then we're gonna try to do something about the warpage. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a measurement from this leg to that leg and then do the same thing from that one to that one. Figure out what the difference between the two is, and then probably split that in half, cut a piece of that length, and then weld it in from one corner to the other corner, try to help take some of that warpage out. And then we'll cut some feet, weld the feet on, and this baby will be good to go. Alright guys, so I got our measurement and I cut us a piece. It helped take some of the warp out. Obviously there's still a little bit, but I think honestly I'm going to cheat and probably play the cut the foot till it looks just good enough. And to be honest, I already kind of did that. So right now all we're going to do is weld in this cross member, and then we'll cut those 2x2 pieces, weld them on our feet the best we can, and then this thing's done. Alrighty guys, just like that, we got ourselves our own fire pit. You know, for some cheap angle iron and old 55-gallon drum that cost me like 10 bucks off of a dude off Marketplace. It's pretty solid. I don't think this thing's gonna wear out anytime soon. I am gonna drill some holes in the bottom inside here so that if water gets in here, it doesn't rot it out super quick. But that's it for this week's video, guys. As of today, the channel's at 111 subscribers. I really appreciate all of y'all that keep coming back and watching the videos and hitting that thumbs up button. And if you like this type of content and you're new here, go ahead, go hit that subscribe button. Alright, and hit the notification button so when I post a new video, you guys get notified and you get to enjoy it that much quicker. And those of you that keep hitting the thumbs up button, I appreciate it. For those of you that haven't, maybe hit that thumbs up button. Does the channel a lot of good, doesn't cost you guys a dime, and I really appreciate it. And those of you that leave comments, I appreciate those. I don't always get back to you guys as fast as I probably should, but I definitely try to get in there from time to time and answer comments. But as always, this is Guy in His Garage. My name's Cam. I'll catch you guys on the next one.